Good morning and welcome to the first Gigabit demo call of 2015. We're excited to have you guys here today as we talk about some of the exciting projects happening in Kansas City, Chattanooga, and around the next generation technology universe. We have a couple of exciting demos for you today, first from Viditor here in Chattanooga and from Gigabits in Kansas City, as well as some information about events happening in our two communities, City Camp Cha and the Gigabit City Summit next week in Kansas City. So to kick things off, we have Stuart French from Viditor, who's going to tell you a little bit more about their updates and what they've been doing to expand the project in collaboration with the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
Thanks, Lindsay. So if you're not aware of Viditor, to give you a quick sum up, it's an online video editing tool, all in HTML5, jQuery, JavaScript, all open native web languages, no plugins like Java and Flash. If you want the short version, it's basically Google Docs but for video editing. So you can create your own project online. Doesn't matter if you're running Windows or Mac, whatever. As long as you have an HTML5 modern browser, you can edit your videos, make a movie, TV show, anything like that, completely online. And then likewise, invite other people to join and work on your project with you. We developed it for the past about year or so, a little more than that actually, but really with the Gigabit Fund, thanks to Mozilla, we've been able to really progress it a lot farther. To give you an idea of what we've been working on lately, we've been really able to push a lot of HTML5 video over the Gigabit connection. We've been able to use create what's called the remixer, which this is not a final interface, but it gives you an idea of what we want to do. I'll put it in the chat here so everyone can see this. If you want to check it out yourself, you're more than welcome to. We have some videos there of one of our main developers, Andrew, dancing, and you're able to move all that stuff, move the videos in there, move them around, add different effects, and so long as, like I said, as long as you have an HTML5 compatible browser like Firefox or Chrome, you'll be able to see the effects and see anyone else editing them in real time. Now, talk about what we've done with the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, which is UTC for short. We were able to get into their computer science senior project program, which is we'll be working with some of the students that are working to graduate, and they'll be helping us develop parts of Viditor in order for us to get up online. In exchange, we're giving them real-world experience. What this particular project is that they're working on is what we call cumulonimbus, which is a fancy way of saying the cloud. We want to have users be able to upload to the service, to have all of their files up there from which they can edit. They can store their videos and then edit, keep them up there, and then from there be able to send out to all these other services like YouTube, Vimeo, or just download. But we didn't want to stop there. Because of the nature of Editor, we are open source, so as this code is being developed, this is going to be pushed out onto GitHub. We'll have a GitHub link a little bit later once we're a little bit further along in development, so that all users, all the people that are interested can see what we're doing, and if you wish to contribute, you are more than welcome. But we're also working on having APIs in this, so that again, this is still in development. This API isn't released yet, but this API could be used by other sources. So, for example, there's Popcorn.js, which Mozilla is probably aware of. So you can tie in, if you have that editor, or you decide to use that, you can integrate the cumulonimbus from Viditor into that. So you can have your videos kind of accessible, really, just about everywhere or to any other program. And that's really a big part of what we want to do. We want to contribute this. HTML5 has really pushed this. We're able to really add up and build upon these technologies to where video editing can be for any user, doesn't matter where they are. So we want to get more people involved in this. We've got several students through UTC, and we thank Mozilla. Between us and them, we were able to get into the project and hopefully build a better working relationship between the two organizations. So that's really the big thing for us. And once we start being able to release this code to the public, once we have something a little bit more tangible that's down, we can release that to the public. We can have multiple people contribute, and you can start seeing for yourself how cumulonimbus is going to work. And we're also, one last note, we are in this project, we're actually working with the Gig Labs to host the project and to use that for our base of operations. So that should hopefully keep things very fast in the Gigabit City.
That's awesome, Stuart. Thank you so much. Viditor was our only project here in Chattanooga to receive funding in both rounds of the Gigabit Fund in its initial year, and has also just received some supplemental funding. So it's very, very exciting for us to see how this project is developed. And if you have a moment, the video that they've put together of Andrew dancing is one of my favorite YouTube hits of 2014. So go check it out. Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the City Camp Cha that's going on this week at the library.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Stuart mentioning GigLab, who's joining us from Open Chattanooga, is sitting there right now. So Tim is an open government specialist for the city, and he works with the Open Chattanooga Brigade, and they've been putting on for the past 2 days this unconference, City Camp Cha, City Camp Chattanooga, which has done a lot to bridge this gap between technology and civic issues, between the tech and developer community, between government and the actual citizens of Chattanooga. It has been, for me, an incredible experience seeing the diversity of folks who have showed up. I had an incredible conversation with a woman in her 70s who is in charge of her neighborhood and feels that it is incredibly important for kids to learn how to use computers, and decided to show up for the whole 2 days. And I don't know, it's really inspiring seeing this kind of civic connection with the gig city. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim, who is in the Gig Lab at the moment.
There you go. How about now? Can you hear me? Great. Yeah, so I'm in the Gig Lab right now, calling you from you can see the servers behind me, from City Camp. We've actually had City Camp on the 4th floor all day. It looks a little bit like a wedding with all the like white, what do you call it, curtains we have up for all the breakout sessions. And it's been really great so far. I'm not sure, Jeff, what you want me to touch on, but it's been, we had a really good group yesterday with a whole bunch of sessions. If you go to City Camp Cha, you can actually look at the notes from each session. So we developed that so that there would be follow-up, so the people who were meeting and like came up with some good ideas and plans of actions, they could just keep the conversation going on those collaborative documents that they've been hacking off of and working on. We also connected to a gig port here and live streamed some of the sessions that we had. So those are up on YouTube now, but hopefully they'll be on the excuse me, up on the website soon. So this was our first our first try at City Camp. It's kind of it was a new venue for us, a new process. The idea being that like whoever shows up is the right people, and then you just the sessions are actually organically grown from interest of the people who show up. And it actually worked really well. There was I don't know, Jeff I think he touched on this. There's like a wide range of individuals here, and also like just a wide range of topics. It's all focused on public safety, but still like the breadth of like what we talked about and discussed. Anything from like homelessness services to affordable housing to transportation to helping people kind of clear their records. So I don't know, it's been really exciting and fun to see. I've been wanting to have a city camp in Chattanooga for a couple of years, and it was kind of really gratifying to see it here.
Yeah, it has been for us an incredible experience. I guess the two things that, if you don't mind touching on, is a little bit.
Sorry, I'm just having a hard time hearing you.
About what Open Chattanooga is, and sort of a little bit about that, and how does having a next generation network like EPB's fiber help with this sort of civic engagement?
Sure. So part of Open Chattanooga, what we do is we have an open data portal where anyone who wants can access city data sets, and we haven't. I think right now they've been at a manageable scale, but like what the kind of vision that we're wanting to see is we're wanting to provide access to a kind of a long-range historical data. So, like for example, our 311 data. I think if you start from the beginning of the process and like to now, I forget how many millions of records there are, but there's just tons of records, and it's a really rich data set that you could do a lot of really cool things with historically looking at information. So there's going to be, when we actually kind of the next gen of the open data portal is going to have some really large data sets, I guess. And so having that next gen network, being able to visualize it, upload and download and play with it is going to be really important from that perspective. Another thing we've been thinking about playing with is this idea of citizen science and kind of sensors. And so once you start adding a lot of different sensors and having those automatically feeding into a data portal, you actually can use a lot of bandwidth pretty quickly and get really big data sets pretty quickly as well. So that's been that's kind of another, I guess, way we're thinking about open data and the kind of gig network. And just from, I guess, from a development standpoint, is when we develop apps and work here, it's so fast to kind of push the apps to servers and test them out and deploy pretty quick because we have such a quick network. Is that kind of what you had in mind?
Yeah, no, that's
okay.
We're really excited about this work in Chattanooga. We're excited about working with you guys. As I said, one of the things that kind of came out of one of our sessions yesterday is that we'll be piggybacking off of the Open Chattanooga Hack Nights. There's a group of citizens who are just interested in kind of digital literacy and equity and how we do a little bit of grassroots stuff and pairing that with the data and tech work you guys are doing. So hopefully you'll have an interesting group starting to show up for some of those nights. We're really excited about getting that going. Thank you so much for giving us your time. We really appreciate it. I'm going to turn it over to the lovely Carrie Keefe to tell us about next week in Kansas City.
Hey, Jeff, real quick. Is it okay if I go ahead and head on out, or do you need me to stick around for the rest of the call?
No, please. Thank you so much for breaking out of
no problem
for us. We appreciate it.
It was great talking to you all. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share about CityCamp.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.
Okay, well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about Kansas City as a showcase for Gigabit events. We have the city is hosting the Gigabit City Summit next week, Tuesday through Thursday. It's a 3-day conference to really come and learn from the pathways of Gigabit infrastructure and architecture, as well as connectivity and application exploration and development. From Kansas City as the first Google Fiber city. So we've invited the next round of Google Fiber cities to come and really learn from the playbook that the Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri mayors put together as a bi-state innovations team. And they put, I think there are 12 plays that were identified as to really how to leverage the agency needed to build infrastructure and application development in an inclusive way for the community. So this is a great kind of showcase piece for Kansas City to kind of lay the groundwork and foundation of what we've learned over the course of the last 3 years, and share that out broadly with communities who are either in the throes of becoming a smart and connected city, or are in the position to really consider what kind of technology and providers they're going to be bringing to their community. So, so we're really, kind of excited to have a broad base of economic development folks, city delegations and mayors and civic leaders, as well as people in leadership positions within cities in education, so superintendents, principals, and advisors through cities coming to the event to really explore the different pathways of all of the economic development opportunities that Gigabit technology can really bring to the economy of those communities. So I'm going to put that link to the event in the chat and on the event page so that you guys can kind of check it out. I expect this to be an ongoing annual event that will take place each year, presumably in January, which is a lovely time to come to Kansas City and freeze and eat barbecue, so why not? We think it sounds like a good time. We do have a spectacular star-studded speaker roster across the summit. There are people coming from all over the globe to talk about various levels of expertise in these smart and connected spaces. In addition, just to plug Mozilla and our agenda in education, we've got a star-studded roster of education leaders coming to talk about education's role in the economic development agenda and how important it is to be part and parcel to those conversations when we're talking about smart and connected communities. So we have Tom Vander coming from Getting Smart. He just wrote a book called Smart Cities That Work for Everyone, the 7 Keys to a Successful Economic and Educational Environment. So we're really excited to have him come. We also have Krishna Vedati, who's the CEO of Tinker, coming to talk about STEM and smart and connected communities. And we also have the director, the executive director in the Office of Education Technology for the U.S. Department of Education coming to do a fireside chat and also participate in a national panel to talk about the perspective of next generation learning in smart and connected communities. Can you see a theme going here? So please feel free to check it out. We'd love to have the response. It's definitely something to watch. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of ways for people to remotely tap into this event. It's something we hope to incorporate in years to come so that it's a more easily accessible event for a larger audience. But in the meantime, feel free to check out the website and get acquainted with it that way. And I'm going to, if you have any questions, put them in the chat or on the event page, and I'll certainly address them. But I'm going to give a little show and tell to a project in Kansas City called the Gigabots. We have Jonathan Wagner here to talk about his project, which was a grant recipient for the first round in Kansas City of the Gigabit Community Fund. And he's been able to continue to do some additional development work with a recent supplement to the original grant. So we're really excited about what kinds of additions and augmentation he's able to make to that project to really take it to the next level. So I'll let him talk about what he's got in store over the next few weeks and what that really looks like in terms of deliverables. So welcome, Jonathan Wagner. We'd love to hear from you. Looks like we couldn't hear him.
I think we lost him.
Well, I will give an update as we. Oh, it looks like he's coming back. We'll see if we can get him to have audio clearance. Otherwise, I'll make a feeble attempt. No. You know, it's just not a Google Hangout without somebody having some sort of glitch.
Things were going so well.
I know, right? Well, I will be Jonathan's proxy. It's nice to see his face. I think the Gigabots have eaten his audio. Okay, so there's Gigabot Prime. This was a project that was using connected devices as a platform to allow kids in robotics leagues to have ways to collaborate and augment their what is oftentimes a very stagnant curriculum that has a single competition in mind. So it really added a layer of capability to the depth of what is taught and what is experienced in a robotics league. And Jonathan created a dashboard which allows kids and students to not only use JavaScript to command certain functions based on sense for the robots, but he was able to create some collaboration so that those robots actually were communicated through a connected device like your iPad or your iPod or your phone. And the sort of next generation of his technology introduces a video component to allow more real-time capabilities for the robots in multiple locations to really interact and engage with one another. So he was looking at the Lego Mindstorms was the platform that he had originally designed this this project on, and he really explored looking at Raspberry Pi and even development with some Firefox OS capabilities in with Raspberry Pi. So he's got a lot of kind of things, you know, that he's got in the fire. So we're excited about where he's going to go with it. I wish he was able to talk, because I think he'd do a much better job of explaining it. But that's my very rough assessment of Gigabits 2.0. And what's exciting, I think, to look at the pathway for a lot of the projects that we've seen come through the Gigabit Fund is that there is a real natural level of progression for these projects that have an opportunity to impact people, students from a curricular standpoint with pedagogy and learning, but also create an openness to it with a platform that can be really flexible for students and for teachers to adopt and use. And so we look at these as great opportunities to scale some of these projects and these programs into you know, other Gigabit communities. So that's kind of the trajectory of where we see these pathways. We want to continue to nurture projects like Stuart's and Jonathan's so that they continue to gain traction and allow people to really adopt and make use of those open source technologies and programs. So thanks for giving me some leeway to wax on that one.
Fantastic. I wish we could read your lips, Jonathan. But perhaps we can share out some links about your project, because it's certainly exciting, and I always love seeing the robots in action. Thank you to Stuart. Thank you to Jonathan. Thank you, Tim, and Jeff and Carrie, as always, for sharing out today. We will post this video on YouTube if you want to learn more. There are also some exciting links we'll post so that you can continue to follow and read about these projects. Thanks to all of you. I hope you've had a wonderful 2015 so far, and we'll see you next month.